Hi everyone, and welcome to Paper Pumpkin Week here on Creative Chelsey. Thanks for joining me today as I continue to share some beautiful card ideas you can make with the April 2025 Paper Pumpkin Kit called Inked Occasions. Here's a quick peek at the original cards from the kit. If you'd like to watch me unbox the kit and create these cards or see any of my other alternatives, you can click on the playlist in the top right corner. This is the third alternative card idea I will be sharing with you this week. This card uses some easy and fun techniques to add texture to your cardstock. If you are new to my channel and would like to continue to see all of my paper pumpkin alternatives, make sure to subscribe using the link in the bottom right corner. I would love to be your Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. If you're interested in getting your own paper pumpkin subscription, please use the link in the description below to subscribe. My subscribers receive an exclusive card kit designed by me with everything they need to make 2 more beautiful cards with the stamp set and ink spot from that month's kit. We gather together once a month on Zoom to make the card and have fun together. I would love to have you join me. Make sure to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin and list me as your demonstrator or use the link below. So to begin this card, we are going to use the other half of the card base from yesterday's alternatives. We made 2 gorgeous cards yesterday with the first half, and here is the second half. Let's begin by taking this larger area of alcohol ink blending, and we're going to cut it at 3 1/4 inches. Save this smaller piece for another alternative, and we're going to use it just like this. Love this card. We're also going to create a texture with our paper trimmer on some gorgeous grape cardstock. This cardstock is 3 1/4 as well by 5 1/2 inches. So we're going to take and we're going to score it at some different measurements to get this really fun pattern. If you don't want to do this, you could also emboss with an embossing folder. So I'm going to begin at 1/4 inch on my right side, score, and then I'm going to go to 1/8 inch, score, and then another 1/8 inch, score. Okay, so it creates a 3-lined score every 1/4 inch. So the first one is 1/4 inch, then we have 3/8 inch and 1/2 inch. And then we move down another 1/4 inch. So now we're at 3/4 inch, and we're going to repeat. So move it down 1/8, score, and another 1/8. And now we're at 1 inch. We're going to do this again. So we're going to move down 1/4 inch first, score, and then 1/8 inch, score, and then another 1/8 inch, score, and we're now at 1 1/2 inches. So we're going to rotate. Let me think. I do think it's nice and even. Yeah. So rotate, and we're going to repeat this. So we'll do 1/4 inch. I like working here on the right side. It's easier for me, but you could also work opposite. So start at 1/4 inch, move 1/8, score, move 1/8. We're now at 1/2 inch. Okay, so move 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch, score, move to 1/8, score, and now we're at 1 inch. So we're going to move again to get to 1 inch. And then we do it one more time, 1/4 inch. We're at 1 1/4 inches, score, we go to 1/8 inch, score, and then we have the final one, which is at 1/2 inch. And then because this was 3/4 inch, we have 1/4 inch right in the middle. Gives us really fun, beautiful texture to our card stock. I'm going to add this to my card base of fresh freesia cardstock, just with some liquid glue. And I want just about 1/16 inch of fresh freesia showing at the bottom, but the rest of it will go all the way across, just like that. Smooth it out. Okay, so we have a bigger gap at the top, a very tiny gap at the bottom, and this gorgeous pattern texture that we added. And we're going to splatter next. And I've got some white craft ink. We're going to add it to a clear block. And I never clean my clear block. This is something I just leave. So a little dot just to kind of add a little more. I have a water painter that I keep wet with white. Add a little water to it and then mix that onto the clear block. It starts to reactivate any old ink that's there. You do want it to be nice and loose so it splatters really nicely. So go ahead and add just enough water. And then we're going to splatter this onto our cardstock. I love using my little splatter box. This is just a cardboard box that fits my cardstock really nice. And it keeps my work surface from getting lots of splatter marks everywhere. So it's going to look like this when you're done. It's going to take a minute to dry, so set that off to this side. While that's drying, let's go ahead and work on the centerpiece. So we've got this beautiful alcohol blending paper going on down here. That's going to go near the bottom. We're going to tuck under some gold, and we're going to do this with dimensionals. So this gets popped up with dimensionals. So let's go ahead and do that. It can be a little tricky. Let's just start with 2 dimensionals here at the bottom. We want them to be nice and close to the edge so that it can hold that gold in place. Let's do another one in the middle. So right along that edge there. Let me show you. So nice and tight. Take those paper backings off. Take your gold foil. This is just 1/4 of an inch, so it's a nice skinny piece. And we're just going to add it right underneath. We just want it to touch just a little bit there. Okay. Okay. So the nice thing is we've got a little bit of dimension here. So it's not sitting right on top of that paper, like right under the paper. It's got a little bit of a gap, which I think is kind of nice. And you can see that it's sticking to those dimensionals there. And we will add it with some liquid glue when we add this to our card base. Go ahead and take some paper snips and just cut it off on each side so that it matches the same size of that other piece. If you have a silicone craft sheet, you can use that to hold this down since it's sticky on the bottom. Let's next add our little die cut piece. So after the other alternatives I have done, I've got this little piece left over, and I'm going to flip it over so that I only see the white. And I think that pops really nice against the color background. So I'm going to place this right on top. This is also going to have dimensionals. And the other thing is I want to place it so that it's, I don't have any of these like boring edges here on the side. So I'm going to take my paper snips and just make a little cut where the edges are. So it's lined up again with that size. And then I can bring it to my paper trimmer and cut those off. Now we don't want to cut off any leaves quite yet. So if we have something that feels out of place, we can always trim it a little bit more. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. Let me give you, I'll flip this over so you can kind of see what it looks like. And then we're going to stamp our greeting right here in the bottom right corner of this. And we're going to use the Gorgeous Grape again. If you don't have this color, you can use Berry Burst just fine. And I'm going to do You Are Amazing. And it's going to fit really nicely right here. Give it a little space on the right side, just so that in case you have to trim any off, you don't cut your greeting. Okay. Right here I've got this weird looking leaf, so I'm just going to kind of trim that and see if we have any others. I'm also going to trim this one, I think. Okay, I think that looks okay, the rest of it. I don't really like this long skinny piece right here, so I'm going to trim that off. And maybe the same down here on this side. Okay, let's add this with dimensionals right over here. That has dimensionals, right? Yeah, and those are the minis that you're going to need. Oh, before I do that, I'm just going to double check this is the right size. Yeah, that looks good. So maybe about 4, a couple in the middle and 1 on each end. And then when you add this, add it just a little bit below the color piece, just so that you don't have any color showing and it's nice and straight all the way across, just like that. Okay, and we're not going to do any adhesive for the plants. So if you want to, you can, but I like that they're kind of popped up. Let's talk next about hugs. So I wanted this to also be popped up, and Stampin' Up sells these foam adhesive sheets, which are great when you want to add dimensionals to really detailed dies. So you're going to add that to the back of your cardstock, just like you would with paper, the adhesive sheets. These ones are just foam adhesive sheets. And then when you cut this out, you're going to have the dimensional in that shape, which is so nice. Just make sure that when you cut it, you run it through your Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine a couple times just to make sure you go all the way through all those layers. All right, so we've done that. We are now going to remove it from the cardstock. And I like to try and keep it in the die. Sometimes it's not possible, but if you can, then it's going to keep its shape better. Okay. So just be careful you don't tear anything. Having a silicone craft sheet, or you could use the center, this like smooth part of your dimensionals. It's going to help because it gets sticky. Okay. So you've got that. Let's just pull this off for a minute so that we can pull the center pieces out. So pop those out of the die. And then pull them out of this as well. Okay. So there's that. So that looks good. And then to pick this up, if you want to double check that it's the right shape, you can put your die back over. It looks good enough. To pick it up, I like to use some repositionable tape. And if you're interested in getting some of this, I just buy it from Amazon, and I can place a link in the description below. And it's just really great. You can use it to pick up like that. Pull it all the way off your silicone craft sheet. Make sure you have all the paper backing removed, and then you can lay it right in the center here. I'm going to do it like that. And then you can gently remove this. Oh, I've never had it stick before. If you do, pull out your heat tool and just loosen up the adhesive just a little bit. That's the first time I've actually had it stick to the cardstock. Not sure why. Maybe I pressed a little too hard on it. But anyway, very cute. A nice, easy way to transfer that over. Okay, go back to your card base. If it's not all dry, you can put some heat on it from your heat tool. And we're going to go ahead and add this to the center of our card base. Add a little more dimensionals and a little touch of glue along that gold strip just to make sure it holds it in place, because it really is only sticking on there with just that little bit of dimensional at the bottom, which is not quite enough. This goes right in the center. Just like that. And then take something, maybe your bone folder, and just smooth out the glue on that gold piece. Okay, so that it sticks to the card base. But I love the extra dimension that gives to have that actually touching, and then everything else just have some different layers there. It's really pretty. And then I do have the brass butterflies, and I thought, oh, those would be so pretty with this card. And so I'm going to go ahead and add these embellishments to my card. 2 here on the right, kind of a large and a small, just kind of in the little meadow. And then I'll put another large one up here at the top by my greeting. And your card is all done. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching me create this fun card with some different textures that you can do easily in your own craft room with your paper trimmer and some white ink. If you would like to see written instructions or close-up images on how I created this card, you can visit my blog, creativechelsey.com. If you would like to get your own subscription to Paper Pumpkin, please do so using the link in the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Have a creative day. Bye.